This is Conversations on Careers and Professional Life. I'm your host, Gregory Heller. On this series, I'll turn lessons from my MBA course, Professional Communication, into practical insights you can use every day. On this episode, I'm talking about something deceptively simple, but absolutely foundational, and that's structure. In the second episode of this series, I covered the pyramid principle. This is one particular way to structure a communication, and it works particularly well for presentations. But often our presentations and other communications involve telling stories. So it's worth revisiting structure and talking about a few other common structures, because the truth is this: good ideas fail when they're poorly structured, and ordinary ideas can succeed when they're beautifully structured. Let's break down why structure matters and how you can use it to make every communication, email, presentation, meeting, or pitch more compelling. Years ago, I had a colleague who loved to say, "We're not data digesters, we're storytellers." And in fact, sometimes the human species has been referred to as Homo narrans, the storytelling human. Our brains are built to process information through stories. As a species, this is how we communicated information for tens of thousands of years. And as individual humans, this is how we've learned since we could begin processing language. Parents, family, teachers, board books, and Dr. Seuss, they all wrap information into stories. That means when your communication wanders, your audience's mind wanders with it. Think about the last time you read an email that started with unnecessary context, wandered through unrelated details, and landed on the request only at the very end. You might have had to reread it twice or didn't finish it at all. Structure isn't a superficial skill, it's a cognitive kindness. It reduces friction. It gives people a clear path to follow. While stories can take many shapes, the universal story arc is beginning, middle, and end. In business, we can map the beginning to what's the point, the middle to why does it matter, and the end to what should we do. In business communication, you can start with the recommendation or insight. Your audience should know where you're going before you ask them to follow you there. A structured message respects their time and increases your influence. Executives are busy. They're making dozens of decisions a day. So your structure needs to work for them, not against them. I love what Matt Abrahams talks about and writes in his book, Think Faster, Talk Smarter. He lays out the what, so what, and now what structure. What? That's your headline, the single most important sentence. Then, so what? Why does it matter? Provide evidence, but only the evidence necessary. Now what? That's your recommendation. What do we do about it? What's the implication or action? What happens next? When you use this structure, people stop interrupting. They stop asking, what's the point? Because you've already told them. This is another way to look at the pyramid principle. Structure also matters in slide decks, whether it's for a case competition, a product or fundraising pitch, or any executive presentation. Every slide should follow its own mini structure, just like I laid out in the pyramid principle episode. A clear title at the top, and in the body, one idea that's supported by one graph or chart or a short set of bullets. If someone looks at the slide without you in the room, they should be able to still understand the message. But when you are in the room, the slide shouldn't steal the show. Your voice carries the narrative. The slide reinforces it. You can think of the slide as the scaffolding, not the building itself. Structure is also important when planning a meeting. Meetings collapse quickly if they lack a structure. You've lived this. A meeting without a clear agenda, it's like a ship without a rudder. You may have a good conversation, but how will you know you're talking about the right things or heading in the right direction? Before any meeting, ask, what's the goal? What's the sequence of discussion that gets us there? What decisions or actions do we need by the end? Even a simple agenda, just 3 bullets, can turn a 60-minute meandering meeting into a 20-minute decision. Structure creates momentum. Momentum creates clarity, and clarity creates action. Editing is such an important part of creating structure. One of the most important parts of structure isn't the writing itself, it's the rewriting. This is where you can apply Chekhov's gun, removing anything that doesn't serve the story. A good editing question is, if I remove this sentence, slide, or data point, would the meaning change? If the answer is no, it goes. Students often resist this because they've spent hours on the analysis. But remember, your job isn't to show your work. Your job is to show what the decision maker needs to act. Editing is an act of generosity. It gives your audience the gift of time and clarity. Here's a simple approach you can use to apply structure to any communication. Write or identify your main point. List the 2 or 3 reasons supporting it. Add only the evidence required to prove those reasons. Arrange it in a sequence that flows naturally. Cut everything that doesn't serve the point. And that's it. It sounds basic, but most professionals never do this. And that's why structured communicators stand out. On a later episode, we'll talk about another technique to bring even more clarity: blot. Remember, structure isn't just a communication skill, it's a leadership signal. It shows that you think clearly, respect your audience, and understand how decisions get made. So the next time you prepare a presentation, draft an email, or step into a meeting, remember, structure matters more than you think. Thank you for listening to Conversations on Careers and Professional Life. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with a friend or classmate. Help others find the show by leaving a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. Conversations on Careers and Professional Life is produced by me, Gregory Heller, with support from the Foster School of Business, Office of MBA Career Management. Learn more about the show, find show notes and past episodes, and get in touch with me at conversationsoncareers.com.